Welcome back, everybody. My name is Taylor Martin. This is the best Damn EDC, and it's time for another EDC Weekly. However, this one's going to be a little bit different for a number of reasons. One, I'm revamping the EDC Weekly, which I feel like I've done like 4 times now, but for real, this time, revamping, shorter, quicker, snappier, less rambling from me, as I'm doing literally right now, telling you that I'm going to ramble less, I'm rambling more. Jesus Christ. Second, we've been talking about bringing the EDC Weekly back every single week for a long time, and it's finally going to happen, pretty sure. But in order for that to happen, I have to revamp. So those things go hand in hand. But the other reason that this is going to be a little different is because we're not talking about submissions this time. We're talking about my favorite EDC accounts from this year, or just in general, because I've never done this before, but my favorite EDC accounts over on Instagram. So with that said, let's do the damn thing. Just right up top, just want to kind of fill you in on how things are going to change moving forward. I'm not going to be talking about what I'm carrying every single EDC Weekly now. I'm not doing news anymore. That was a fun experiment, and while I think it has some value, pairing it with the EDC Weekly doesn't make a whole lot of sense because those are time sensitive and the EDC Weekly itself is not. So just trimming the fat, cutting out a lot of these segments, and trying to make this show a little quicker, faster, and just not take so much time on the back end as well. So trying to make it better for everybody involved. Doing my best. So with that said, the very first Instagram account that was most influential for me almost entirely, like with the entire channel and everything, there's one that I can think of that would be a little higher on that list, but one of the most influential accounts for me is hitchandtimber. Gear aside, Michael's photos are just really, really good, right? They were inspirational for me in the very beginning, that dark, moody vibe. He's been doing this for a very long time, so he's, I would say, one of the OGs in the EDC world that was taking really nice, high-quality photos, and he keeps it fresh, and he's been doing this for so long. There are different angles, different setups, like shooting into a bag. He just gets really creative with it, and I appreciate it. He's a great dude, one of the first to kind of welcome me into the fold, but really his Instagram was, I would say, one of the OGs that really pushed the envelope for EDC on Instagram, to have like better quality photos. So once again, that's hitchandtimber. If you're not familiar with hitchandtimber, he does leather goods, and now he does like wax canvas bags and stuff. Amazing quality gear, really great stuff, and an awesome Instagram feed. The next Instagram account, I would say, has probably the most influence on the EDC world, and he probably wouldn't agree with this, but I would. Just in the last year and a half or so, maybe 2 years, Sam, Raven the Pirate, he has flipped the Instagram EDC world on its head because he upped the ante. Like, I will take a little bit of credit for taking higher quality photos and putting them on Instagram and kind of hoping to set myself apart, and then boom, Sam just like steamrolled the whole thing, and he's just creative. He's creative as hell. His photos look amazing. Yeah, he makes me feel like I should just pack it up and give up and go home. Like, that's how I feel most of the time that Sam posts a photo. He's got these amazing composites, like this one right here with the hands holding the gear. There's so many different ones. One of the first ones that I saw from him that just blew my mind was an exploded view of a knife. So I've seen posters with like exploded views of guns and knives and whatever, but Sam did it in a photo. And I know how it's done, but it just takes so much time and dedication and getting it just right. And then in post-processing, you've got to edit all of that together and make it look real and legitimate and not funky, which is harder than it may seem. So with that said, Sam is he's a pioneer, I think, for the current EDC community that we have. He's one of the reasons that photos went from really good to exceptional, just out of this world. So thanks, Sam, for making me feel insignificant always. Oh, Sam is also a massive, massive titanium whore, just like myself, so that's also big points in his favor. The next account, I'm gonna be totally honest, I thought this person had 2 accounts, because there's m.b.journal and there's m.b.wild, And I thought they were just two different accounts that had different purposes, but upon closer inspection, they were two totally different accounts with two different people behind them. MB Wild is also another very good account, but the one that made this list is m.b.journal because vibes. Like, the vibes in these photos are just so good. He keeps it fresh. There's different angles all the time, which is something I really struggle with. I noticed today the last 3 photos on my Instagram feed they're hand dumps, and I hate doing the same thing back to back to back to back, and I slip into a routine and I end up doing the same thing over and over. And that's what I really appreciate about this account, is that he's always doing something a little different staging, different background, different angles, everything. But the best thing, and I think the most important thing about this account, every shot is with an iPhone. And it just goes to show that you don't need an excessive amount of gear and a very expensive camera to take really great photos. It's more about lighting, staging, composition. You can have a really nice camera and do things that this is not, like, that are not possible with a phone. But really, truly, with like newer phones, you can do some really impressive stuff with them. Like, I recently, literally yesterday, was reminded that this takes DNG photos, so raw photos, and you can really push the limits of what you can do with a phone camera using something like Lightroom and manually taking your photos. That said, this guy just goes to show that you don't need expensive gear. You just need an eye and a lot of practice and understanding of lighting and staging and composition. So it's all things that are attainable to just about anybody, and that's why I chose m.b.journal's account. With that account out of the way, I want to take a moment to thank our sponsor of this video, Skullbliss. Skullbliss makes unique home decor that you won't find anywhere else. Authentic, high-quality, hand-carved animal skulls that you can display in your home to have a truly unique centerpiece and conversation starter. I replaced the Watusi skull in my studio with this patina buffalo skull that has been aged and hand-engraved. They call it Antique from Hell, and I think it really pulls everything together in the studio and takes things up a notch. Originally started in Bali, Skullbliss wanted to showcase the true craftsmanship of traditional skull carvers. They continue to work with Balinese artisans and hope to share parts of their culture and wisdom with the world. Let nothing go to waste, for example. The skulls are transparently and ethically sourced, and Skullbliss offers longhorn, cow, buffalo, and ram skulls, all of which come hand-carved or in several different premium finishes like hand-engraved metallic, mosaic, and crystal finishes. They also offer non-carved skulls for a more simple look, and there are a couple of mounting options to choose from as well, a wooden wall mount and a metallic stand, and there's even a metal mount with a lamp option. To check out Skullbliss yourself and add a one-of-a-kind piece to your walls, hit the link in the description below and use coupon code EDC50 for $50 off your order, and the code is only good until January 7th, so act fast. And once again, I want to thank Skullbliss for sponsoring this video. The next account that you have to follow, if you don't already, what are you doing? This guy is the granddaddy of EDC on Instagram, and I know he will not take credit for that. He won't ever take credit for anything because that's just who he is. John Smith, or 875 FPS. He is the guy that really grabbed me and pulled me into the EDC world. His photos were really great back in the day, and they stood out a lot from all these other accounts. He had really interesting and different gear. It was stuff that I didn't know what anything in his photos were, and I was always interested in everything he posted, and I followed, and it just sucked me in, and here we are. I think John's been mostly absent until a few weeks ago. He's been not posting nearly as much as he had in the past, but the photos are still good, and he does great work. I really wish he had not stopped making Swiss Army knives, the BWSAKs, because they're just so good, but I understand priorities change and everything, but he has continued the brand on for now. He's doing patches and different things that just to keep things alive, but really, truly, nothing else to say beyond John Smith is a stand-up dude. He'd give you the shirt off his back and probably everything else in his possession, honestly, but also he's the guy that got me started, truly started in EDC. The next account in this list is Mea Hanapahi. He shows up in so many of these EDC weeklies because his photos are so good, and really what draws me in most is how jealous I am of his collection. His watch collection and knife collection are insane, and the photos are just so clean all the time. Like every single one, they've got this certain like clean sharpness to them that I don't know, I can't put my finger on it. They've got that dark and moody vibe, but they're still like crisp. I don't know how to explain it other than that. And the other thing I really like about this, and it's something I actually touched on when I was doing my Q&A last week, is this feed is very watch heavy. So a lot of the accounts that I follow are not watch heavy at all. I wish they were, but they're not. People just don't love watches as much as I do, or as much as many of us do, and you just don't see a lot of great watches unless you follow a watch specific account, which is, I don't know, those watch specific accounts sometimes are a little too much for me, but I would say Camuela, I never know how to pronounce his name, but amazing taste in watches and literally every photo I'm jealous of. The next account I'm going to talk about here is everlastingember, or Will. Will is just a very creative guy, and he's another one of those that pushes the boundaries of these EDC photos, and he gets very creative with it. He does composite photos and different stuff. He just gets very creative. But what I really like, honestly, is his staging. Here's this photo. I think it's a fixed blade Adamas with some waterproof, stormproof matches and a bunch of other stuff. And it's just the texture, the layout, the wood shavings in the photo, just everything about it is just so nice. He's not posting as much as he was before. Again, life gets busy. I believe he had a kid, and that, I know, changes everything for everyone. But he's just going out of his way to make these really, really nice photos. Here's one that has a Synapse, a BWSAK, and a Vero Fulcrum with a lot of food, like gingerbread and stuff around it. And the layouts are just so good. They're like magazine quality photos. And he's posting these for fun to his Instagram. It's just, it's respectable, super respectable. So the next account, every time I sit down to make an EDC weekly, I inadvertently choose one of their photos. Every time. And I never notice it until I'm going through and like looking at the details. I'm like, there was something about that photo. I knew it. Damn it, I did it again. Through the Chief's eyes, I think we have really similar taste in gear, and the aesthetic of everything here is just similar to what I like and enjoy, and photos that I take. I would say actually the photos are a lot more involved, but the gear especially, the knives that he carries, the stuff that he carries alongside it, it's just all stuff that I'm drawn to because I really like it. Aesthetically, we just have similar vibes. That's all I'm saying. So because of that, I see it, I'm like, ooh, I like that photo, I choose it, and then I get to the planning part and I'm like, all right, he's been in like 4 videos in the last couple of months. I got other people who have to have a shot. So through the Chief's eyes, I don't know your real name, but if I could choose you every single video, I probably would, and I wouldn't even know it until after the fact. So whatever that means, take it as you will. The next account is less about the quality of the photos and more about the gear. Like a few of the accounts before this, it's really just a massive collection of wild and interesting things. Not all stuff that I'm super interested in. There's a lot of knives here that I don't personally like. That's okay, but just seeing the wide range of things that Matt has at his disposal, like, I'm pretty sure his collection of gear is better than mine. And mine, it's almost like cheating because I just have stuff all the time. I buy stuff all the time. It's my job to have all of these things. And I think his collection would probably put mine to shame, seriously. But this is Cutting Edge Gear, or Protech Matt. You guys, if you're into Protech, you probably already know who he is, but that's why his feed is so heavy with Protech knives, but he has so much other stuff. There's an Umnumzan, which is an older model Umnumzan with the old pivot, and I am jealous every single time I see him post that Umnumzan. It just looks so cool. Something about that vintage look to a Chris Reeve knife. Like, I'm happy with mine. I'm not getting a different one, but I'm just jealous of that old pivot. Looks cool. Anyway, Matt's a stand-up dude. He's one of the reasons I have a few of the Protechs that I have that were very hard to get, so I'm very appreciative of that, but I constantly look at his feed and I'm jealous of some of the things that he owns. The next account that I think you guys should take a look at is EDC_sector, and this is another one of those that just extremely similar vibes. A lot of the same gear that I carry and very, very, very similar taste. Micarta, textured titanium, like this paramilitary 2 that he has the same Rips Garage Tech scales that I have. A lot of these, just very similar vibes to knives that I would like, but this, he has an XM18 that is just really killer. Anyway, EDC sector, dark moody vibes, really cool gear. and great photos. He has a frag pattern Shirgorov Neon 0. Like, come on, man. He's got some really good stuff. So go ahead and check out his account as well. That is EDC_sector. Okay, the next account I'm not as familiar with, but I do follow them and I am blown away by them almost every time they post a photo. They're one of the few accounts that makes me want to walk away again. Just throw my cameras in the trash, give up, walk away, because I just don't have the patience, the dedication, and the time it takes to take some of these photos. But he does a lot of composites, and these edits are just insane. So here's one that this lion steel knife, is sitting in molten lava. And obviously it's a composite, and you know, compositing isn't so hard. You just have to have the right angles and lighting and everything to make it look natural. But he just does this, the creativity is just unreal. There's a Squid Games photo, like these Squid Game cards and the knife's cutting in, everything's floating and falling. Everything about all of this stuff is just so clever, and that's not what's so cool about this account. What's cool is when he does a photo like that, most of the time, not every time, but most of the time, if you swipe, there's a second photo with a behind the scenes shot, and it's got all of the stuff in the photo labeled. So a fill light or a bounce light, or you know, a fishing line holding something in place, everything is labeled, and it shows you, one, everything that goes into taking a photo like this, and the meticulous setup it takes on some of these, and also just the dedication and the knowledge to have everything like that. Like, I could take a photo like this, I just don't have the patience. I get so frustrated just setting up a flat lay sometimes. I can't imagine the setup on some of these, and I've attempted, and I'm not good at compositing and these like floating image things. I could do it, I don't have the patience or the time to really make it good. So if you don't do it well, why do it at all? This guy does it super well, and not even that, just takes it one step further and gives you a behind the scenes and shows you how you can do it yourself. So this one is like the opposite of, what was the other one? m.b.journal. This is the opposite of m.b.journal, who takes everything with his phone. These are like meticulously set up photos that are just outrageously good. So thank you, EDC and me, for being another one of these guys out there that just makes me feel wholly inadequate with a camera. Thanks, I appreciate it. Thanks guys, thank you for everything. If you have some Instagram accounts that you think I should check out or other people should check out, some underrated accounts, put them in the comments down below. And I definitely want to do another one of these that aren't necessarily my favorites, or maybe fan favorites or something. I want to do something showcasing different Instagram accounts and other people from the community that is not just sharing your photos. So we're going to have fun with the EDC Weekly in 2022 and mix things up a lot. But thank you guys for making 2021 just an incredible year. It's been the best year ever for me personally and also professionally. The channel has grown tremendously this year. The community is tighter than ever. Like, everything is really good right now, and I have no one else to thank but you guys. So thank you. That's really all I can say, but thank you so much. I hope you guys had a great Christmas or holidays, however you celebrate, and you guys, everybody out there, have a happy new year, and I will see you guys next year. 2022 is going to be a great year. See you guys then, and until then, carry on.